Michael and I went home. I couldn't wait to tell Layla that we were dating. But when we arrived, we got the shock of our lives. The front door was wide open, and the place was full of broken glass. Layla was nowhere to be seen. Michael, what's going on? This is starting to really scare me.
I don't know, Sally. Let's see if we can see anything inside.
I followed Michael into the house. The whole place looked like a bomb had hit it. Tables and chairs were turned on their sides, and the window was broken. There were belongings scattered everywhere. As I walked through to the kitchen, the first thing I saw was a note on the table. I picked it up and read it. I felt sick when I realized that it appeared to have been written in blood.
If you want your friends back, come and get them. Oh, and don't bother calling the cops. If you do, you'll never see your friends again. Amber.
Below the words, a drawing of a house was made in blood. But before I go on, make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you don't, your friends might get kidnapped too. You don't want that, right?
Oh my god, I can't believe it. It was Amber that was behind the kidnapping all along.
We should call the cops.
What do you think the house drawing means?
Michael's face turned gray.
Oh god, I think that's it. She must be holding them at the haunted house. I think we better go there and see what we can find out.
Even though the last place I wanted to go back to was that house, I knew we had no choice. We had to find our friends. Michael and I headed straight over to the house. We walked through the gate and into the garden. The gate made an eerie noise as it swung back on its hinges. And when it slammed back shut, I nearly jumped out of my skin. I stood close to Michael. The hairs on my arms stood up on end. Should we go inside?
I think we have to. Follow me.
I watched as Michael pushed the front door of the house open. He peered inside but couldn't see anyone. I followed him in. I had only just stepped inside when the door slammed shut behind me, as though someone had been standing there waiting for us. But we couldn't see anyone. We went into the living room. It looked like no one had been there for a very long time. There was an old-fashioned fireplace. The mantelpiece above it had an inch of dust on it. In the corner was a table with a family portrait on it, and on the opposite side of the room was an old leather couch. I noticed that the TV was switched on, but there was only static on the screen. All of a sudden, the screen flickered and a scary face appeared on it. Ah! We both screamed and ran out of the room and into the kitchen. My heart was beating so fast that I thought it would explode in my chest. But what we saw in the kitchen was even worse. The doors on the kitchen cupboards were swinging back and forth, and knives were floating in the air, racing towards us. Michael grabbed hold of my hand and pulled me out of the kitchen.
Come on, let's hide in the bathroom.
We ran into the bathroom, and Michael locked the door. I started sobbing. I was so frightened. Michael put his arms around me to comfort me.
Don't worry, Sally. I won't let anyone hurt you.
I began to calm down. But just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, they did. Michael and I looked in the mirror and saw the reflection of a ghost standing behind us. Ah! We both screamed so loud. Michael unlocked the door and we ran out of the bathroom and up the stairs. When we got to the hallway, we both suddenly froze. I looked at Michael. Can you hear what I hear? He nodded.
Yes.
It was the sound of children laughing. Slowly, we turned around. At the end of the hallway, we could see a little girl standing there. She started running towards us. We both screamed again and ran into one of the bedrooms to try to get away from her. Michael closed the door behind us and we sat down on the bed to catch our breath. Michael, this place is terrifying. And there's no sign of Jack, Hannah, or Layla.
I'm more concerned about where Amber is, or what she might do next.
Do you think it's her that's behind all of these illusions? The knives flying through the air and the little girl in the hallway? They're not really ghosts, right? But before Michael had a chance to answer my question, he let out another scream and jumped off the bed. He grabbed me and pulled me off the bed too.
Something just grabbed my leg.
What? Are you sure? Maybe you just imagined it. Your nerves must be on edge.
I didn't imagine it. I definitely felt someone grab me. Come on, we gotta get out of here.
We were just about to leave the room when something made us stop. Lo and behold, Layla crawled out from under the bed.
Layla, how did you get there? Are you okay?
I'm okay. I managed to escape and I ran and hid under the bed in here. Sorry about that scare, Michael. It's just, when I saw you, I was so happy to see someone. Amber is keeping Jack and Hannah in a locked cage. We have to save them.
Oh, Michael, this is insane. I'm scared out of my wits. Michael pulled me towards him and put his arms around me.
Come on, Sally. Everything will be okay. I promise you.
As Michael comforted me, I thought I saw a strange look pass over Layla's face. What's that all about? I thought. But as soon as I saw it, the look vanished. Maybe just my mind playing tricks with me, I thought. Wait, what's that noise?
It sounds like voices coming from underneath us.
Is there a basement in this building, do you think?
Come on, we'd better go and look.
Layla and I followed Michael down the stairs. We noticed another set of stairs in the corner of the kitchen leading down to the basement. The stairs were made from stone and led down to a dark wooden door. It didn't look like it had been used very often. Spider cobwebs were in every corner and mold was growing up the walls.
Come on, let's go inside.
I'm not sure this is a good idea, Michael, I said, but I followed him and Layla into the basement. As soon as we entered the basement, we could see the outlines of a cage in the middle of the room. Michael reached out and felt for the light switch. As soon as the room was lit up, I could see that Jack and Hannah were locked inside the cage.
Sally! Michael, help us!
Hannah! Jack! Are you all right? I was so pleased to see them both alive and safe. At one point, I had thought that I might never see them again. It was such a relief. All I wanted to do was apologize to Hannah and make up with her. But suddenly, I noticed there was someone else in the cage with them. It was Amber. I couldn't believe my eyes. What was she doing locked up in the cage?
Please, help me.
Amber! But you're the kidnapper. Why are you in there?
I'm not the kidnapper, you idiot. She is.
Amber was pointing straight at Layla. I looked at her in confusion. Then, when I turned to Layla, I gasped. Her face was covered in shadows, so I couldn't see her reaction, but something had changed. It was then that I realized that I had never even known the real Layla. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Layla lunged at Michael. He yelped, and then she started punching and hitting him. I don't know where she found the strength from, but she managed to overpower Michael and pushed him into the cage. She locked the door on the four of them. Why, Layla? Why would you do such a thing?
I did this for you, Sally. Jack and Hannah were making you sad, so I got rid of them.
But this is crazy.
No, it's not. With them out of the way, you can be happy. You have me. I'll be the only friend you'll ever need.
But what about Amber and Michael? Why have you locked them up too?
Amber hurt you. I couldn't let her get away with it. And as for Michael, he's just a distraction. He's stopping you from realizing what a good friend I am. I would do anything for you, Sally. I love you.
You don't love me. If you loved me, you wouldn't lock my friends up. Let them go. Layla looked down.
I can't do that.
I didn't recognize my friend anymore. I couldn't believe that she was the one responsible for all this madness. I had to do something about it. I pounced on Layla and managed to push her to the floor. Before she had time to jump up, I ran to the cage and unlocked it. Jack, Hannah, Michael, and Amber came running out. The five of us made a circle around Layla. She looked scared when she saw that we were all against her. We picked her up and put her into the cage and locked the door. We all started hugging each other. I was so happy that everyone was safe. But the fact that Layla had betrayed us all still shocked me to my core. Layla, we were good friends. But after what you have done, we will never be friends again. Layla started crying. I felt bad when I heard her tears, but then I remembered what she had put everyone through. I realized then that Layla must have faked the note too. She probably signed Amber's name to throw us off. But it was still so shocking to me. It's safe to say that that was the biggest shock of my life.
Let's just let the police deal with her.
Michael called the police. Within a few minutes, we heard the sirens and the police came running into the house.
No one's hurt. This is the girl that's responsible for the kidnapping.
The police opened the cage and put Layla in handcuffs. They let her out of the house and we followed them out. Just before they put her into the car, Michael asked her,
Layla, I just don't get it. How did you make all those illusions and tricks?
Layla looked confused.
What tricks?
You know, the floating knives, the woman in the mirror, the TV.
Layla still looked confused.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The police put her into the car and drove her away. The four of us looked at each other. We were all stunned. We all turned and looked at the haunted house. It couldn't be real, right? There was no way. The little girl, the TV, the kitchen, it had to be some sort of illusion, some sort of trick. Layla was just lying, right? But as the police car drove away and Layla disappeared from view, I couldn't shake the feeling that she really was telling the truth. Which meant I shook my head and tried to shake away the creepy feeling inching up my spine. The kidnappings were already so much to deal with. I wasn't going to think too much about the things we had seen in that house. Hannah, I'm so sorry for falling out with you. You are my best friend. I shouldn't have let Michael and Jack come between us.
I feel the same, Sally. Let's agree to never let anything like this happen again.
Hannah and I hugged each other. It felt so good to be friends with her again. I just hoped that Michael and Jack could settle their differences too. But I didn't need to worry. As I looked over Hannah's shoulder, I could see them both fist bumping each other. I knew at that moment that everything was going to be fine. Amber was still crying and seemed like she was still in shock from what had happened. I felt a bit sorry for her. It's okay, Amber. Don't cry anymore. You're safe now. Amber smiled at me through her tears.
Thank you, Sally. That means so much to me. I was so mean to you, and all you've done is be nice to me. I hope you can forgive me.
Listen, we have all been through a lot in such a short space of time. This is the kind of thing that can make us friends for life. We turned away from the house and that crazy ordeal. But before I turned, I could have sworn in that last second I spotted something in the window of that house. It looked like an old man, and it looked like he was waving at us. Later, police confirmed that the house was empty at that time. They said we must be hallucinating from the shock. But I knew, and all my friends knew it too. That house was not an ordinary house.